What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to From The Bench Vols. I'm your host, Will Meadows, and welcome to our Wednesday edition of the show, where we have a lot of Tennessee football to talk about once again. Today, we are going to discuss the Vols ranking in the preseason AP poll right there at 24. We're going to talk about if it's just right, too high, too low, and we're also going to discuss what we saw this past weekend at the first fall camp scrimmage, and then there's another one coming up this Friday, so kind of comparing the two, what we didn't see and what we saw this past weekend and what we want to see coming up this Friday. But before we get into any of that, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, leave a like, leave a comment, share it. I would greatly appreciate you guys. And to all you new subscribers, who a lot of you guys are from Locked On Vols, I appreciate you guys for joining me, subscribing. It means the world to me. I appreciate all the love that we got on the last video. And as you can see behind me, we have a new setup. I am in my dorm room right now. Also, if you see me, hey, I hate to interrupt myself, but we are selling t-shirts in the next few days, so make sure you guys are tapped in with the social medias, especially the Instagram. You can see it right there. That's where the website will be dropped, and that's by popular demand. I never thought that I'd be able to sell t-shirts to you guys. Obviously, kind of a small following on this channel, this show, but you guys have direct messaged me on multiple social media websites wanting to buy shirts, seeing me wear them in my episodes, so I greatly appreciate that. You guys have no idea how grateful I truly am for that. That just makes me so happy. I can't even put it into words. So thank you guys for making this possible. But again, tap in with the socials. Make sure you guys are followed to the Instagram, because that is where the website will be launched. It's just going to be a week-and-a-half long sale, so you don't have long. Go get your guys' shirts. Again, a black and a gray one. So make sure you guys are tapped in with the socials. I will drop that website there. And on our Friday edition, they should be out, so I will talk about it on our next episode. But again, make sure you guys are following the socials to be on the lookout for those shirts being sold soon. But let's get back to the episode. The AC in my dorm room is out for the second day in a row. I've been here. This is my third night, so it's been out for almost 24 hours. So that kind of stinks, but we're going to still try and get an episode out to you guys today. I know the shadows are kind of bad. I got to figure out all the lighting and stuff with my dorm room. The dorm lighting is not very good, so I got to figure out all the shadows. But regardless, I wanted to get an episode out to you guys. And also, if you watched the last episode, I went on my Walmart rant, and this picture right here was not supposed to be here. It came the day after I uploaded that video. So our Walmart prayers were answered. So we've got our setup right here. We just got to figure out all the things to it. Should be easy to figure out, but regardless, I wanted to get an episode out to you guys today. So enough about my dorm room. You guys aren't here to listen about Will Meadows and my life story and what's going on. You guys are here to talk about Tennessee football, and that's what we're going to do. So we'll start with the AP poll ranking. The Vols, like I said, right there at 24 in the preseason AP poll. And if you ask me, I think it is perfect. I think that is exactly what it should be. Do I think they can finish higher? Yes. Do I think they can finish lower? Most definitely. I think this is the most up-in-the-air Tennessee season I've seen in quite some time, definitely in the Josh Heupel era. But I know a lot of people on social media and all the things, they're not happy with the 24 ranking. If we were not in the top 25 at all, I would not have been surprised. You know, you lose the SEC Player of the Year in Dylan Sampson. You lose a first-round draft pick in James Pierce. Your quarterback leaves the day of your spring game. Like, you know, those things don't necessarily add up to being a top 25 team. You lose your best player on offense, your second best player on defense, and then regardless of how good you thought he was, your starting quarterback left the day of your spring game, which is never a recipe for success. So again, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Vols were not in the top 25 at all. Like I said, though, or like Eric Kane said on our last episode, the schedule adds up that your offense doesn't necessarily have to do too much for you to win 9 games, or maybe if you're lucky 10 games, but I think 9 games is a little bit more realistic. You are going to have one of the best defenses in the country this year. That defensive line is still going to be deep, have a lot of depth at the defensive line position. You got to hope to get to the quarterback a little more. Last year was Josh Heupel's in the Josh Heupel era. Again, last year was a Heupel low, I guess you'd call it, in sacks last year. So you want to get to the quarterback a little more. Obviously, the defense on every other statistic was probably the best in Josh Heupel's tenure, but I think that this defense is going to be better than last year's. I think you're going to have one of the best secondaries in the Southeastern Conference. Jermod McCoy is the best DB in America. Boo Carter plays all over the field, a very versatile guy. We know what we have in Ricky Gibson, some improvement there. And then obviously, you get guys like Colton Hood, the transfer from Colorado, and you love what you see from him in fall camp. Willie Martinez and other coaches, defensive coordinators, they're just nothing but praise for Colton Hood, another versatile guy in that secondary, can kind of move around, play some boundary, play in the slot. Colton Hood's going to be a very, very big piece for this defense. But then at the linebacker position, you kind of like what you had depth-wise a little bit more than years prior. Obviously, Arian Carter is going to be a beast, a freak athlete. Jeremiah Thielander seems to be one of the vocal leaders of this team. And then, again, another guy that coaches are just raving about in this fall camp is Edwin Spillman. Edwin Spillman, again, another freak athlete, sideline-to-sideline speed at the linebacker position. I think that, and then even Jordan Burns, that other depth piece at the linebacker, I just think that they're very happy with what their linebacker room is looking like. Now, granted, you hope guys can stay healthy. That's a part of football. Obviously, Keenan Peely last year, your best linebacker, gets hurt, the second or third game of the year. So, obviously, injuries are a part of football, so just got to hope that you stay healthy. Obviously, you have guys like Jermon McCoy coming back from injury right now, and especially on the offensive side. Guys are banged up. Braylon Staley, Mike Matthews, Chris Brazzell, which Chris Brazzell, I'm not going to talk about it too much, was arrested last Friday. I'm sure most of you guys saw it, driving on a suspended license with speeding. So, was arrested Friday, back at the scrimmage on Saturday, and then was in full pads the first practice of the week this week, which is a first for fall camp. So hopefully Chris Brazzell is going to make some strides because, again, he just had his first day of fall practice the other day. So would like to see some strides there and just get that receiver room back healthy. I don't think it's a ton of major injuries. It's just guys kind of nicked up, and you're already thin at the receiver position, so you're being careful about that. Mike Matthews practiced today, had a red jersey on, was limited and stuff like that. Jermon McCoy has been back at practice. We saw that last week, not in pads, but back in practice, and that is major improvement from what we've seen. Obviously, coming off of an ACL is the hardest thing to do in sports, in my opinion. It's a grueling process, especially at a position like any position in football, but at a position like defensive back where it's so put your foot in the dirt and change directions quick. It's a hard place it's a hard position and a hard injury to come back from. So hearing progress on Jermon McCoy, regardless of what it is, if he has pads on or not, it's a good sign, no matter what it is. So again, 24, it sounds about right to me. Again, quarterback is up in the air, receiver is thin. You just lost a lot of guys, and even if you didn't think the receivers were that good last year, me included, you guys know how I felt about that. You lost Squirrel White. You lost Dante Thornton. You lost Brew McCoy. It's all a bunch of new faces. And people like me and you, we may follow Tennessee every day, but on a national scale, those people aren't necessarily following Tennessee on a day-to-day basis, knowing the roster as well as we do. So you just see all these names and these starters that are departing from the team. They have every right to put us at 24, regardless of if we were in the college football playoff last year, regardless of what it is. We didn't have a crazy transfer class. We had a lot of people leave, and the most important position in football left at a very unfortunate time. So to wrap that up, I think 24 is right. It may even be too high, but again, I don't really see the reasoning of why you think they could be higher. Well, I don't know. It's weird, higher or lower. If you think that they should be ranked ahead of 24, but I think that they have what it takes to finish above 24. But again, with the quarterback controversy and the quarterback problems up in the air, it could very well be a below 24 finish. So we'll see about that. And then with the fall camp, this past Saturday, man, I've heard that it was defensive-minded, defensive-heavy, and some just, quite frankly honest, it was questions at the quarterback position. Joey Aguilar threw a pick six. George McIntyre looked like the best one. I heard Jake Merklinger. Who knows? Again, I think that all these guys are going to be very good. At some point, we don't know who's going to be the starter. I think George McIntyre may possibly have the highest upside out of them all. But Jake Merklinger, Joey Aguilar, it's up in the air right now. I don't think that they're going to start a true freshman regardless of how good George McIntyre continues to play. Now, if he's just blowing everybody out of the water, yes, but I don't think it's going to come to that. I think, from what I've heard, Joey Aguilar played better. Again, obviously threw a pick six, which is never good. But I think Joey Aguilar, again, it is his spot to lose right now. Just with so much experience playing at the collegiate level, I think it is Joey Aguilar's spot to lose. But then this weekend, we've got Friday, another scrimmage this Friday, August 15th, I think it is. What's today? August 12th. Yeah, the 15th. They have another scrimmage, another 11-on-11 scrimmage. So things that I want to hear out of that, man, I want to hear that more receivers are playing. I don't even think Mike Matthews played in this past scrimmage. I know Braylon Staley and Chris Brazzell didn't. If Mike Matthews played, it wasn't much. I don't think he did, though. I'd like to see those guys get on the field because we are so close to college football. It's not even funny. We are days away from college football, and these guys need to get on the field. We need that receiver position healthy because, again, it is so thin. We just need those receivers healthy. So I want to hear about those guys, whether it's 20 yards worth of receiving. I just want to see him on the field running routes. I said I wanted to see some deep balls when Eric was on the show, or when I was on Eric's show this past weekend. Sorry about that. But I just want to see guys playing. I guess that's the bare minimum, am I right? But I just want to see guys playing. I want to hear that this team is getting healthy at the right time as we get closer and closer to the season. I heard this past weekend that there was a lot of good things coming out of young defensive backs. Chris Brazzell's little brother, Colin Brazzell, seems like he's going to be a playmaker at the defensive back position, will be a true freshman this year, probably will redshirt. But we're hearing good things about those people. And then the running back position. We know how deep it is with Star Thomas, Deshaun Bishop, Peyton Lewis. But we've heard great things about DeJuan Morris from that scrimmage, a running back, in-state guy, committed to USC, ended up flipping to Tennessee. And then Javon Baker as well. He's another guy who we heard good things about. Guys, maybe not the highly talked about running backs, but some guys down the depth chart that are showing signs of improvement, and that's what you want to see in fall camp, especially with these young guys. Another young guy that I heard had a very good day in that fall camp scrimmage was Deshaun Brame. We've heard great things about him all fall. And again, I've talked about it before. Tight end might be outside of quarterback the hardest position to transition from high school to the college level, especially in the SEC. And Deshaun Brame has seemed like it's almost effortless for him. Obviously, at the tight end position, you've got to do a lot of inline blocking and, put your hand in the dirt and push 300-pounders 5 yards down the field. So we'll see how that works, but it seems like Deshaun Brame is a matchup nightmare for this Tennessee offense. So it's going to be fun to see how, we've got two freshman tight ends who have had a little bit of buzz around this fall camp with Jack Van Dorselaer, who's out a little bit right now for injury, should be back in the next few days, and then Deshaun Brame. Another guy who we're hearing great things from. Would love to see that carry on into, obviously, this Friday in that scrimmage because, again, they're two freshmen, yes, and is the tight end position deep? Yes, but Miles Kittelman is going to be hurt to start the year. So we're going to need those guys regardless of what year they are playing collegiate football. There's going to be a lot of freshmen on this team that contribute. We've talked about that time and time again. Guys on defense maybe. We know Travis Smith and Rodarius Jackson, Deshaun Brame, David Sanders Jr. was ranked by ESPN as one of the top 10 true freshmen in college football this year. There's going to be a lot of freshmen that contribute early on this year for Tennessee football, and that's something that we're not necessarily used to, again, in the Josh Heupel tenure. I feel like Boo Carter last year was maybe, I could be wrong, the first time we've seen a true freshman really play a huge role like Boo Carter did. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. If my memory serves me correct, though, I feel like it was. I know Dylan Sampson played a little bit as a freshman. Squirrel White even played a little bit as a freshman. But Boo Carter was a top 3 to 5 player on your top 10 college football defense last year. So I don't know if there has been anybody that has been that successful as a true freshman in Josh Heupel's tenure. But there's going to have to be some guys be successful early on in their college career this year, just because depth is this football team deep? Yes, but it's deep with young guys. Excuse me. But, yeah, so just want to hear about guys getting healthy at the right time in this Friday scrimmage. And to be honest, I know that I probably sound like a broken record, and so doesn't every Tennessee fan right now. Some positives from the quarterback and some separation at the QB1 position, regardless of who it is, man. Just some separation at the QB1 position. And I don't want to hear that George McIntyre is having the best day. Once again, no diss towards George McIntyre. Again, going to be an incredible player. But granted, George McIntyre is playing against the 2s and 3s. Joey Aguilar and Jake Merkling are more likely than not going to be one of those guys are going to be your starters. You want to hear good things about those guys. Some deep balls, because again, we know the running game is going to be very good this year for Tennessee. Just some consistency at the quarterback position. It's what everybody wants. So I don't even feel the need to say it. I know that you guys feel the same way. We would love to see some consistency and some good things out of that quarterback position this Friday. But I think that is going to all but wrap it up for today's episode, the Wednesday edition of From the Bench Vols. Again, sorry if I'm sweating. New setup right here. I know the shadows aren't not the best right now, so we're going to try and get that fixed by at least Friday. Also, I'll record a little something after this and put it at the beginning of the video. I'll say it right now too. We are going to have in the next few days, a t-shirt drop. I don't have a t-shirt on right now, but you've seen me wear it multiple times. It's only going to be a week and a half sale by popular demand. I never really thought that I'd be able to sell t-shirts, but I've had quite a few people reach out, seen me wearing the t-shirt in my episodes, and they want one as well. So there will be more information later on. Make sure you guys are following the socials. They are down right here, especially Instagram. That's where it's going to be dropped. The website link is going to be dropped. So for a week and a half, we are going to be selling t-shirts. So make sure you guys are tapped in on that. But again, I think that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. I appreciate you guys for joining me today, and go Vols.